What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy Trinidad MMA back at it again with another video, man. And this time we're doing something a little different. It's not going to be my typical video where I predict fights or give a fight breakdown of the whole card. This video is actually going to be all the up-and-coming fights that I'm super excited about. And the whole purpose of this video is to know what fights you guys are most excited about. So after this video, man, make sure to leave a comment what fight you're excited about and why, and we can have a little discussion in the comment section, you know? So let's hop right into this video. So the first fight I'm super excited about is my boy Max Bless Holloway taking on Brian T. City Ortega. This is going to be such a tricky fight to predict also. It's going to be such a chaotic fight because we got one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner versus one of the best strikers in the UFC. It's going to be such an amazing fight, and I really cannot wait for this one. Max Holloway has been looking pretty good. Not pretty good, he's been looking really good. He's on a 12-fight win streak. I believe that's the longest win streak in the UFC right now, right behind Tony Ferguson. Brian Ortega is coming off a big win over Frankie Edgar. He's the first guy to finish Frankie Edgar, so these two are coming in guns blazing, man, and I really cannot wait for this fight. The next fight that I'm super excited about is Chris Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. I believe they're fighting for the flyweight title, which is Chris Cyborg's title. Amanda Nunes is coming up to challenge Chris Cyborg. These two are arguably the best female fighters in the UFC right now. If you want to, in terms of stats, records, titles, all the people they demolished, they're the best two female fighters right now. And they're both Brazilian, so it's a Brazilian war right here, man. Really cannot wait for this fight. Chris Cyborg has been looking amazing, just running through everybody. She also showed that she's not just a brawler or she just relies on the power in her hands. She showed in her last couple fights that she could be technical when she has to. And she's really an all-around great fighter. Same goes with Amanda Nunes. Couple fights, it shows that she's not just a power puncher or just comes out there just guns blazing out all the time. She can rely on her technique and fundamentals to win her fights. So it's super excited to see this fight taking place because they're both in their prime. Like, stuff like this never really happens, you know? If they have two great fighters, they're gonna keep them away from each other as long as possible. But the UFC, I love how they're just going at it. Just, you're the best, and you want to fight each other? Why not? Let's get it. And I just love that, man, about the UFC. And I'm super excited about this fight. The next fight that I'm super excited about, this is probably the fight that I'm most excited about, is Jon Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson. This is going to be the second time these guys are fighting. The first time, we all know Jon Jones won. In my eyes, Alexander Gustafsson won that fight. But to beat the champ, you either have to finish him or win in a very convincing fashion to get that belt, you know? The UFC judges are terrible, and most of the times you cannot leave the fight in the judge's decision because these guys, like, they're just fucking terrible, honestly. They don't really know what they're watching. They don't know what they're doing half of the times. The UFC, that's the one big problem with the UFC. They have to fix the judging system. But let me get off this rant right now. Now they're fighting for the second time, and I really cannot wait for this fight. Jon Jones is coming back. Jon Jones, I hope he gets his shit in order. And because if you think about it, Jon Jones could have been the biggest fighter of all time. Jon Jones could have been bigger than Conor McGregor right now if he had gotten his shit in order, man. The guy is super talented and one of the greatest fighters of all time, if not the greatest fighter of all time, with all the stuff he got into outside the octagon. But I really cannot wait for this fight, man. And I hope everything goes as planned and this fight actually takes place. And the next fight that I'm super excited about ties in with the Jon Jones and Gustafsson fight is the DC versus Derrick Lewis. Man, oh man, DC is just on a run. First of all, DC is the light heavyweight champ and the heavyweight champ. Now he's defending his heavyweight belt for the first time against Derrick Lewis, which I think is going to be a pretty easy fight for him. If DC finishes Derrick Lewis and then comes back down and fights the winner of Jones versus Gustafsson and beats whoever wins that fight, DC could be the greatest fighter of all time. Not could. he will be the greatest fighter of all time, man. I don't think people appreciate how good Daniel Cormier is. First of all, the guy is 39 years old. He started his UFC career at 30. He's a two-time champ. He's a UFC commentator. He's a great commentator, man. He works for Fox. He's a bronze medalist in the Olympics. Like, the list goes on and on and on. He's such a good champ. He's a good representation of a champion. He carries himself well. He does all the right things. And I just feel like he's underappreciated. Everybody knows how good he is, but I don't think people appreciate like how freaking good DC really is. And if he's able to pull this off where he beats Derrick Lewis and then goes down and fights the winner of John Jones and Gustafsson, he's the greatest UFC fighter of all time. There's no argument, there's no discussion, there's nothing. He is, if he does this. Like, you cannot argue about it. But there's a lot of other fights, like Francis Ngannou versus Curtis Blaydes, Anthony Lionheart Smith versus Volkan Ozdemir. There's a lot of other fights that are coming up that are pretty good too, but these are the fights that I'm super excited about. And I want to know what fights you guys are most excited about, so make sure to comment below what fight it is and why, and we can have a little discussion, man. It's your boy Jay Gamer, and I'm out of here, bro. Peace.